Biodiversity, a term that sums up the vast and extensive plethora of the billions of different species that inhabit our planet. The diversity of the species that have coexisted on this planet with us for thousands of years is a vital and invaluable influence on our survival. However, recently the biodiversity of our planet has been threatened by various sources of human origin, such as pollution, deforestation, and many others. Decreases in biodiversity, particularly for consumers, can cause them to become a specialist, a very dangerous place for an organism. Specialists, or organisms who rely on the consumption of just
There's the
one
second
or
one.
two other organisms for survival, are at risk because if decreasing biodiversity causes their food source to become extinct or endangered, they too would be at risk for extinction. For example, biodiversity drastically affects mammals, such as polar bears, who depend on sea ice to hunt their main energy source, seals. Due to the increase in average global temperature over the past century, the sea ice that polar bears are dependent on for hunting has been melting at an alarming rate, limiting the ability of the bears to not only move from place to place, but to access their food source. Because animals like polar bears have had to resort to other sources of energy, such as local birds, which ultimately cannot sustain them, polar bears and organisms in similar situations are likely to see decreases in their biodiversity. As a direct consequence of the decline in biodiversity, our species, too, is in grave danger. The devastating effects that a lack of biodiversity in other species can have on our species have been shown throughout history. However, the most clear and well-known instance in which they were shown was the Great Famine in Ireland. From 1845 to 1852, Ireland experienced one of the worst famines in human history. The Great Hunger, though worsened by other factors, is mainly attributed to Phytophthora infestans, which infected and killed the one and only species of potato present in Ireland at the time. There were potato species available that were not affected by the disease, but because of the island's lack of biodiversity, it did not have any of them, and over 1 million people died as a result of the famine. While the Great Hunger was a truly terrible event in human history, it demonstrates just one of the potentially devastating effects the continued decline of biodiversity can have on humans if we do not take action. Through the efforts being made to preserve biodiversity by governments may seem out of reach to the average person, including things like the creation of natural reserves and natural parks and the promotion of sustainable agriculture, there are things that individuals like you or I could do to help. For example, recycling paper products as often as possible and buying products that use primarily recycled paper pulp eases the strain put on the world's forests and can help preserve biodiversity by ensuring the organisms' habitats will still be around in the future. Additionally, if we make the choice to buy more varied crops, rather than those promoted by companies such as Monsanto, we can fight the biological sameness that these companies promote in agriculture, and keep our crops biologically diverse, averting potential famine. If we all work together, we can stop the decrease in biodiversity and save not only our species, but the rest of the species on our planet as well.